Hello, I'm Ron Raffensperger. I'm a senior transformation expert with Huawei's Enterprise Business Group based here in Shenzhen in China. And I'm really excited today to be able to talk to you about OceanStor Dorado and why it's your best choice for mission critical business. Let's look a little bit about what is mission critical. Why is there a need for it? Well, we've certainly seen recently that the data is exploding. The number of, if you take an example here of one of the Chinese banks, we have more than a 10 times growth in the amount of electronic transactions that are taking place. If we look at something like a typical telecommunications carrier, they're seeing more than a 6.5 times increase in the amount of bills that they have to generate, the number of entries on those bills. So the things that are really important about the business requirements for extreme performance are that it can happen much quicker. So rather than a typical time of 10 to 20 seconds for a reaction on a billing or on a inquiry into an account, instead we want something that's less than a second. And if we look at the kinds of reliability, I mean, we're no longer dealing with a 9 to 5 kind of a business. Everything is 24/7. So we have to have extreme levels of reliability. So from a technology standpoint for your storage system, what that means is that you have to get the typical performance down to something like a half a millisecond. You have to get the reliability. We always used to think that 5 nines was just incredible. Now you need to be able to get at least 6 nines to be able to meet the demands of your business. We have the answer for you. OceanStor Dorado is the all-flash system that takes performance to the highest level. So it does 20 million IOPS, which is the number of operations per second. And if we look at the Storage Performance Council, which is the industry body that sets the standards for how you measure this sort of thing, the SPC1 results for the OceanStor Dorado can go all the way up to 20 million IOPS, which is just an incredible if you look at some of the other systems that are out there, or even at Huawei's previous systems. And if you look at the performance of the disk storage itself, of course, everybody knows that solid state is much faster than the equivalent hard drives. In fact, the hard drives, typical kinds of latency around 2 milliseconds, whereas with the solid state, it's a factor of 100 less than that. So the performance needs are around being able to take all of that and put it together in a way that meet the needs of the industry. So how does Huawei do that? Well, we use what we call FlashLink technology. FlashLink is actually a whole lot of different things brought together. It includes the operating system that is running inside of the storage controller. It includes the chips that allow the whole system to work together. Huawei was the first to be able to use NVMe, which is the fastest way to access the storage system, not only just between the controller and the storage, or just between the enclosures and the drives themselves, but through the entire communication system. And it means that it's much, much faster than what we've seen before. 2 times the performance of other systems that are out there, and latency is reduced by more than 60%. So this is really an exciting system from a performance standpoint. But it also has to have all of the reliability that we talked about. And the way that Huawei does that is actually 4 different levels. The first level is just around the disks themselves. So Huawei has a number of proprietary algorithms that run inside of the controller that's on the disk itself. And these do lots of different things to optimize the access, but they also optimize the life. There are 2 major components of that. One we call wear leveling, which is during the first part of the life of the solid state storage, it makes sure that all of the reads and the writes are spread evenly across the whole storage system. But as you get near the end of life, if the algorithms are too good, and ours in practice were, all of the storage will fail at the same time. You don't want that. So what that does as the drive gets more mature is that it does what's called anti-wear leveling. So it makes sure that all of the reads are concentrated in particular parts so that you get early warning of things that are coming to their end of life, and you're able to have the highest life cycle. In fact, as much as 3 million hours of MTBF, the mean time between failure. The second layer is around the way that we connect the systems. So Huawei uses a full mesh architecture. What that means is that all of the controllers in a full large-scale Dorado system, that could be up to 16, but typically in a larger system it's 8. But all of them are interconnected not only with each other, but also with all of the enclosures. So as a result, we can actually lose 7 of the out of 8 controllers, and you will have no impact on being able to access your data. You won't lose anything. This is really an incredible kind of an architecture that we've created here. The third level is around the overall reliability. So it's one thing to be able to have very high reliability within a storage system or even within one of your data centers. But for 24/7 performance, you need to make sure that you have multiple data centers that have all of this communication. And so Huawei has built a system that doesn't need any external gateways. It's built into our system software, and you can have 2 data centers that are connected in what we call active-active. So they're both running at the same time, so that even if you lose one data center, the other one continues to operate. No data is lost. None of the transactions that are in process fail. So it's a very, very reliable system, and it just comes built in. The last and fourth level is to the cloud. So to be able to be really, really sure that you always have your data available to you, not only do you have the active-active, and we can also have a third data center, which is your disaster recovery, but we can also do backup into the cloud. So with a Huawei cloud, you can be able to have your storage system be able to connect back in to the cloud for a fourth level of protection. All of this together can actually give you, at least theoretically, up to 7 nines of reliability. So now let's look at a little more detail about how we can have 7 out of 8 controllers fail and still have everything work. I mentioned that we have a mesh architecture. This is what it looks like. All of the controllers are interconnected to all of the other controllers. And so that includes being able to have copies of the global cache. So every controller has copies of all of the data, and even if I were to lose 7 of those, the final one that's still there knows where all the storage is. It has the cached information. It can able to make sure that you have no outages at all. But we've actually gone beyond that. So typical kinds of storage systems in the past, you had pairs of controllers, and one could fail, the other one would take over. But if you lost both of them, you lost access to your data. Over the last couple of years, systems have gotten a little smarter, and maybe you could lose 3 out of 4. Well, we've taken that even beyond that to 7 out of 8. And it's not only that, but also the controller enclosures themselves. The controllers fit into enclosures that have the power supplies and the network connections. So with the Huawei system, you could actually lose an entire controller enclosure and not lose any of the access to your data. That's really above and beyond what you're able to find in the industry right now. So now we have a little video to show you exactly what that means.
Talks with customers reveal that their utmost requirement for storage system is zero data loss and service interruption from mission-critical workloads, especially in the event of a controller failure. With a highly reliable, industry-leading smart matrix architecture, Huawei OceanStor can ensure zero service interruption and data loss even when 7 out of 8 controllers are faulty. Smartmatrix features three technologies. The first tech is shared front-end. With this tech, hosts can connect to any port, so workloads are balanced among all controllers. Tech 2 is called Global Cache, which prevents online upgrades from impacting ongoing services. The last powerful tech is shared back-end, where lines do not belong to any controller and disk enclosures are shared globally. Let's simulate ongoing services with VD Bench and monitor the storage system on Device Manager. We remove a controller to simulate a controller failure. As we can see, an alarm is generated immediately on Device Manager, but ongoing services are not affected. How does Smartmatrix do that then? For each I/O sent from a host, 3 data copies are generated in different controllers across 2 enclosures to ensure availability of backup data in the event of faults. If a controller fails, other controllers use the data automatically mirrored in the cache to ensure the highest level service protection.
So now let's look at an actual customer situation. So this is one of the top 24 banks in the world according to the Banker magazine. And they replaced their existing storage system with the Huawei OceanStor Dorado, and they put it in, as I mentioned, in active mode between 2 data centers so that they would have no need for no opportunity to have a failure. And they didn't need any gateway. It was just built into the system. And what they saw was an increase of performance of 2 times. And then also they found that it was really, really reliable and they had no outages at all as a result of this system. So very, very happy customer as a result of that. But it's not just about reliability of the data. You have to get the data into your system. And historically, that's been a problem. Migration is a really hard task. You have different kinds of storage systems, lots of different things that have to happen. But what Huawei has done is we have built into the OceanStor Dorado the capability to be able to help you with that migration. And the first thing is that the system itself has the capability to be able to do the migration. So you put in the OceanStor Dorado, it becomes the front end for all of your existing storage systems, and we can support pretty much all of the modern storage systems. And what happens is that all of the data goes through the OceanStor Dorado into your existing storage, but then in the background, we'll start moving that data out of the existing storage systems into the Dorado. And we can move up to 3 gigabytes per second as part of this migration capability. So, and how are we able to do this? Well, first of all, is that we have trained more than 1,200 migration experts around the world. So in your region, maybe in your local office of the Huawei, you will have experts that know how to do this. We have the centers that are around the world that support this effort. And the biggest part of it is that we have the largest interoperability test laboratory in Asia that's located in our Chengdu, China location, where we have more than 100 different vendors' equipment. We have thousands of different versions of software. So we can actually make sure that your migration will go very smoothly, no matter what kind of a system that you have now. And this is an example from an automobile manufacturer. This one is really complicated. They had more than 800 terabytes of data, but it was spread across, connected to more than 400 different servers, and they had more than 200 different applications. So this is a very complex system. And the existing storage system, they had different versions of storage, different life cycles. And so the Huawei OceanStor Dorado was put in. It started to migrate all that data. The customer had an expectation that it would really be a very slow process. We were able to do it within 4 months, which is much faster than what the customer had expected, and there was no downtime at all as part of this upgrade. So this is a really good case for, even though you had lots of different kinds of storage, huge amounts of data, lots of different applications that were all accessing this, we did it with no downtime, no impact on the customers. The next thing I'm really excited about is what we call Flash Ever. You know, one of the challenges for storage as it's moved into the solid state arena is that technology is changing all the time. It's like you're always having to change out your servers, but what we've done because of the technology that we have now is we now have the ability to allow you going forward. So if you buy a version of the Huawei OceanStor Dorado today, it has a certain version of controller hardware, certain kinds of enclosures that have the disks in them. Let's say that in a couple of years we come out with the next one, okay? You don't have to go through any kind of a complex upgrade to take advantage of that. The new controllers or the new disk controllers, they can all be used, enclosures can all be used with the existing. So you can mix and match. And this will continue forward. We're confident that we can give you the next 10 years where no matter what Huawei comes out with in the OceanStor Dorado, that you will be able to continue to use your enclosures, continue to use your controllers. You don't have to move any data. This is the ultimate in being able to protect your investment. And speaking of your investment, we have an exciting offer, and that is what we're calling Flash Only Plus. And the Flash Only Plus is a promotion that will allow you to be able to easily get into the OceanStor Dorado all-flash storage system. You'll get the advantage of being able to lose 7 out of 8 controllers, the reliability. You'll be able to get the performance, being able to go all the way up to 20 million IOPS. You'll get the assurance of being able to have up to 10 years of interoperability as Huawei comes out with newer and newer kinds of storage systems. We're always on the leading edge. This is absolutely one of the things that you want to be able to do. So if you're interested, please see your local Huawei office, and they'll be more than happy to explain this promotion to you. And with that, I'd like to thank you very much for your time.